Next stop, CFP. Number 1 Clemson clears last major ACC hurdle. No. 1 Clemson clinched a spot in the ACC championship game and kept its college football playoff hopes alive with a 23-13 comeback win over number 16 Florida State. Clemson overcame its first halftime deficit of the season to move to 9-0 for the first time since its 1981 national championship season. What the win means for Clemson. This was the last major hurdle for Clemson in the regular season, as the Tigers close against 3 losing teams: Syracuse, Wake Forest and South Carolina. Clemson's chances of making the college football playoff have skyrocketed with an impressive win over a ranked opponent. The Tigers are back in the ACC title game for the first time since 2011. And they showed they could handle adversity against a team that has had their number. Remember, the Seminoles had won 3 straight headed into this game, as they staked their claim atop the ACC. When the game opened, it was Florida State that came out with a huge touchdown run from Dalvin Cook to seize early momentum. Clemson made several big mistakes in the first half, which cost opportunities to take the lead, from overthrows to a successful fake punt called back to an untimely spike near the end of the half. Yet Clemson didn't let Florida State get in its head. The Tigers kept fighting and chipping away at a 10-6 halftime deficit with some pretty outstanding throws and runs from quarterback Deshaun Watson, along with a stellar defensive effort that absolutely shut down the Seminoles' offense. What the loss means for Florida State. After Cook scored his 75-yard touchdown run, eyebrows raised. He looked like the most dominant player on the football field, but the Clemson defense tightened up and limited him for the rest of the game. Florida State simply didn't get enough from starting quarterback Sean McGuire or the receivers to make the plays when they absolutely had to be made with Cook on lockdown. McGuire was battered time and again by a ferocious Clemson defensive front. Despite that, coach Jimbo Fisher never turned to Everett Golson to get a more mobile quarterback in the game. Florida State's defense played well for 3.5 quarters and had a good beat on exactly what the Tigers wanted to do, but they couldn't contain Watson for the entire game. Nor did they have an answer for tight end Jordan Leggett, who finished with career highs in receptions, 6, and yards, 101. Florida State also seemed bothered by the crowd noise. With countless pre-snap penalties, Florida State finished with 10 penalties and 2 turnovers. Clemson didn't turn the ball over once. Now Florida State will find itself at home the first week in December and out of the ACC championship game for the first time since 2011. Player of the game, Watson. After a bit of a shaky start and a strange spike to end the first half, he came on strong and was the reason the Tigers were able to pull off the win. Watson finished with 404 yards of total offense and rushed for more than 100 yards. In fact, Clemson finished with 2 100-yard rushers and a 100-yard receiver, with more than 500 yards of offense for the 5th straight game. How the game was won. Clemson's defensive front has been stellar all season, and it came up huge when the Tigers needed a big play. On 4th and 1 from the Clemson 40, Cook got the pitch out. Shaq Lawson and Ben Ballware were there to make sure Cook was stopped short with a little more than 6 minutes to play in the game. That had to feel especially gratifying after a 75-yard touchdown run to Cook on the second play of the game. After that run, Clemson absolutely locked down on Cook. After racking up 157 yards in the first half, he had just 37 after the break. What on 3rd and 3 from the Florida State 7-yard line with time winding down in the first half. Watson made the inexplicable decision to spike the ball, which cost the Tigers an opportunity to tie the game. Clemson settled for a 25-yard field goal instead. Andrea Edelson, ESPN staff writer.